I'll keep this short. My daughter, who's 19, told me she was going to college to major in computer science. I was ecstatic about this because she's been set on majoring in illustration. For years, I've been trying to talk her out of it. I know she loves illustration, but it is extremely hard to get a steady job. I wanted her to do something she could be successful in. I want her to have a broader range of opportunities. As it turns out, she lied to me. She's majoring in illustration. She got some mail about some art exhibition at her school. At first, I thought nothing of it because I knew she was a computer science major. But after looking into it a bit more, I found out her work was chosen to be displayed in the exhibition. I was furious. I've spent tens of thousands of hard-earned money on computer science. That's what we agreed on. I told her she could do what she wanted, but I will not support her. She can pay for it herself or get her mother to pay. Or she can begin to pay me back for the money she stole from me, interest-free. My wife said I'm being unreasonable, that she's only 19, and asking her to pay for her own tuition is asking too much of her. I didn't think it was, as I agreed to pay for her to study computer science, nothing else. I was also giving her a chance to do what she did right. I was deceived, and my money was going towards something I had no say in. Now my wife and daughter are upset with me. I'm starting to reflect and think maybe I could have been nicer about the situation. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter I wouldn't pay for her college tuition? She's 19 and doesn't have a job. How dare you create such great art that it's being displayed in an exhibition? My heart breaks for this talented young woman whose father is so thoroughly hostile to her gifts. No doubt it would mean the world to her to have parents who are proud of her, but instead she gets anger from OP. She's already shutting them out of her life, and OP can't see it for what it is. He will lose her, and he will blame everyone but himself for her distance. You are the idiot. My dad did the same thing to me. Guess what? We don't talk anymore. Trying to control your daughter is a surefire way of losing her. Her work is being displayed in an exhibition. If it were my daughter, I would be sure to have front row seats. If you keep this up, you're going to lose your daughter. Apologize and start listening to what she wants, what her hopes and dreams are, then become her biggest cheerleader. Literally, he wants her to do computer science because it's easier to be successful. But she's facing success right now in illustration and he's mad. He is genuinely okay with her sacrificing her own happiness for him. What a horrible father. Would he rather her not go to school? Would he rather her live a life she hates? I will never understand this logic. He is selfish and his love for his daughter clearly isn't unconditional. Her work is being displayed at an exhibition. Do you know how big that is? It means not only is she pursuing her passion, but she's also good at it. Let her self-actualize and don't offer to pay for the wedding, only if you choose a different groom, dude. This is heartbreaking, and I hope this post opens your eyes a bit. My friend got an engineering degree, handed her dad the diploma, then re-enrolled to teach elementary school. Such a flex. You effed up, bud. You have a very, very slim window to make this right. And I suggest you take it because if you don't, she's gone. I have a coworker who's a hobby baker and often brings her finished products into the office to share with everyone. This would be perfectly fine occasionally, but it's nearly every day and was getting a bit excessive. I don't want to be tempted by sweets every day, and it's unhealthy and upsetting to see my coworkers being led into unhealthy lifestyles by the sheer convenience of the sweets. They surely wouldn't be eating as many cakes, etc., if they weren't brought in each day. I was sure, and honestly still am, that others feel the same way but did not have the willpower to speak up. So last week I mentioned to my coworker that it was nice they wanted to share with us, but perhaps they should just choose their best creation once a week and bring that in rather than bombarding us with sugar and fat every day, since it will take a toll on people's health in the long term. She assumed I was speaking on behalf of my coworkers. In a way I was, which is where I might have messed up and stopped bringing in sweets. But later, a few asked her why she'd stopped baking, and now my coworkers are upset that I asked her to stop bringing things in. They said if I didn't want to partake in her snacks, that was my prerogative, but that it was uncalled for me to speak on behalf of everybody or to tell our baking coworker what to do or suggest she was having a negative impact by sharing. Apparently her feelings were hurt for whatever reason, though I hadn't said anything personal. I still feel bad about it though, as it was not the intention. I feel I was just speaking my mind and looking out for everyone's best interest, but I like and respect my coworkers for the most part, so I'm worried they have a point about how I went about what I did, even if my intention was right. So, am I the idiot for telling my coworker she shouldn't bring in cakes every day? Or was I the only one who would speak up for everyone's best interest? You are the idiot. Oh, yes, you are the idiot. You can't just assign opinions to your coworkers, nor speak on their behalf. You're not an elected representative, and no one asked you to do this. Mind your business. You are the idiot big time. You were trying to eliminate temptation because apparently you lack self-control. It is nobody else's responsibility to handle your temptations. So develop some willpower and stop trying to manage everyone else. You're clearly trying to delude yourself that it's all for the greater good. But no, you're being completely selfish. And even if you believe that your coworkers are being led down an unhealthy lifestyle and don't have the willpower to speak up, they can decide whether they eat the dessert. It's not your decision to make for them. You unanimously decided to speak up for others, but didn't consider other people's feelings towards the matter. Also, if I were your coworker, I'd be hurt too if I was told that the sweets I made are taking a toll on people's health. So I've 27 female, been close friends with Tara, 26 female, for about 8 years now. Early on, we made plans to move in together. She shared a 2-bedroom with her boyfriend at the time. They had broken up, and the plan was for him to move out, and I'd move into her 2nd bedroom. She texted me 3 weeks before moving in that they had worked things out and no longer wanted me to move in with her. I was angry because I had already given notice to my apartment and had to move in with my parents. She apologized profusely and had always been a good friend, so I forgave her. 3 months later, they broke up for good, and he moved out, leaving her struggling to pay bills for the 9 months left on the lease. She moved back in with her parents after that, in financial ruin, as she put it. Years later, this past summer, we moved in together. I was hesitant initially, but she did all the work finding a place and paying deposits. It was awesome living with my BFF, and we had a great time until last month. She had a friend with benefits situation with a guy at her work for almost a year. Finally, she sat me down and told me that they were making things official and wanted to move in together. So she wanted me to move out when his lease was up in 5 months so he could move in with her. I was livid. I blew up at her. I called her a crappy and selfish friend and told her I would never forgive her for jerking me around like this again. The argument ended with both of us in tears. That weekend, while she was staying at her boyfriend's, I packed all my crap and moved out. I happened to know someone with a nice 3-bedroom house for rent. It was actually an excellent deal that I'd only passed up because I moved in with her, and I lucked out that it was still available. She's been texting me ever since about how I'm screwing her over just like her ex did, that I overreacted, and that she can't afford the place by herself. Honestly, I consider our friendship over at this point, but now that I've calmed down, I'm wondering if I may be the idiot. Edit for clarification. My name wasn't on the lease. She handled the paperwork. I didn't want to throw speculation into my post, but I 100% believe she did that on purpose. Not the idiot. Your friend's history suggests that if her boyfriend's lease were up in 5 weeks rather than 5 months, she would have still asked you to leave. It's all about her and what she wants. You're disposable to her, and it doesn't matter to her how much she inconveniences you, as long as she gets her way. I don't think she's owed any consideration in return. You found a good living situation, which is no small thing in this market. Why should you stick around, living with someone who has no respect for you? Putting aside all your history, I would say that since she asked you to move out, and she has to expect that you'll look for a new place and take the best deal you can find. This deal came up now. You were lucky it was still available, so you took it. If she didn't want you to move out, she shouldn't have asked you to, period. It's unfair to tell anyone, I need you to move out in 5 months, but if you find a great deal before that, I need you to pass it up and stay here to keep paying me rent. There's a reason she did all the legwork and had the apartment in her name. This was that reason. She wanted the ability to boot you out if her relationship situation changed in the future. Having everything in her name and not asking you to put your name on the lease gave her the ability to do that. Yeah, it sucks that you're bailing on her, but only having the apartment in her name so she could kick you out whenever cuts both ways. It's not your fault she can't afford the apartment that she leased in her name only. I, male 46, have 2 little sons with my ex. I got engaged to my fiance, female 22, recently. She loves my sons and has a fantastic relationship with them. My sons also love her. However, she's made it clear that she doesn't want to be a parent to my sons or babysit them, which is okay because they already have 2 parents. My ex and I are co-workers and both have a job that requires us to be away from home a lot. Last weekend, we both had to go to another city. None of our usual babysitters or family members were available. As a last option, I called my fiance and asked her if she could babysit my sons for the weekend, and she agreed since there was no other choice, but said she was still not going to act like a parent, which was okay with us. My ex's parents called the day after we left and said that they could have the boys now. I called my sons to tell them, but they begged me to let them stay with my fiance. I talked to her to see if she was okay with it, and she said yes, so I told my sons they could stay with her. We went back home and everything seemed okay. My sons claimed they had the best weekend ever, and my fiance said they didn't bother her. Sure, they ate junk food all weekend, didn't do any homework, stayed up late, and other things like that. But it was just a weekend, so I thought it was no big deal. Yesterday, I started getting calls from my ex-in-laws, calling me an idiot for leaving my sons with someone so young and irresponsible when I could have left them with them. My sons have told them about their fun weekend, and they were very angry. They even somehow found my fiance's number and texted her, calling her different names. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I'm not even going to touch the fact that your new fiance is literally less than half your age and has no experience under her belt yet. If she is your fiance, she will be an adult figure for your kids. What kind of person dates someone with kids and openly says, I'm never going to parent them? I'll tell you who. People who shouldn't date parents. And who should single parents date? I'll tell you, not people who refuse to have anything to do with your kids and have to be asked to babysit as a last resort. Holy cow, you're more interested in this whirlwind romance with a girl who's more interested in her youthful freedom and financial stability than your children. You're looking like a bad father here, like really bad. Midlife crisis much? Kind of yuck. They're engaged and she's 22. He was chasing her when she was younger. At best, she's indifferent to the kids, and at worst, she's neglectful. Why you would want to marry someone young enough to be your child is beyond me, and why she would like to marry someone with kids if she doesn't want to be involved is also confusing. I hope you enjoy your 3 kids. OMG, they had 1 weekend of no homework and junk food. Someone call the cops. The in-laws are just mad they didn't get their way. She sounds like a fun auntie, if anything. It's not that serious. I'm sure Granny and Grandpa sneaked them extra sweets and let them get away with stupid stuff, as grandparents should. Other than her not feeding them vegetables and not doing homework, what exactly did she do wrong this weekend? The in-laws started engaging in idiot behavior when they texted OP's fiance with insults. That most likely was not specifically related to this weekend, but their hostility with OP as a person and the ex. OP, their hostility to you is probably well earned since you're a 46-year-old man engaged to someone who could be your daughter. So you are a major idiot just for being in this relationship and what it indicates about how you view women. It is ridiculous that I even have to ask this question, but since everyone in my family is triggered by me, my trust in my decisions is eroding, and I need judgment. I, 34 female, have a sister, 29, who's been battling infertility issues for the past 5 years. Since I'm not married and don't plan to have children, my parents are desperately looking to have a grandchild and are doing everything they can to support my sister. Some of her previous failed pregnancies were high risk, and she had to quit most of her jobs halfway after getting pregnant, and her husband makes just enough to support the both of them. So, to help them financially, my parents and one of my paternal aunts set up a small fund to support the IVF procedures. The thing is, at first, everyone was motivated, and since we had at least 25 people from the community and family who chipped in every Christmas, it was okay, and the burden didn't just fall on me. Although since the start, I was pressured into contributing the most. Over the years, many people have dropped out, and now it's just 7 of us, including me, my retired parents, and other retired aunts and uncles who don't even have a fourth of the amount to donate. Since then, it's been nothing but pressure to donate from my side. I've stood my ground and said no, and everyone keeps guilt-tripping me. My sister keeps taking loans after loans, and I don't know, but the anger and stress are being projected onto me. However, I decided that this time around, I no longer want to contribute as much. Mind you, I used to contribute upwards of $7,000 every year. Finally, after years of feeling used for money and being a doormat, I got enough and made my stand. I instead decided to start and invest in a small baking side hustle with my friend, which I kept hushed for a while till we publicized our social media account. My sister found out and made a scene, complaining to my parents, saying that I was cruel and greedy with my money, when all this while I was the one contributing the most out of any of them. This baking side hustle has been a dream of mine since young, and never mind the fact that they didn't want to support me because my sister's IVF issues overshadowed everything, but they kept belittling my passion and efforts. Sis says that baking aspirations can be halted and continued, but she only has limited time left. LMAO. Am I the idiot here? Please tell me I'm not going crazy. Obviously, whatever she says, I'm sticking to my baking business. Plus, it is cooperated with my friend, so I can't just quit the side hustle on a whim. Not the idiot. $7,000 a year? That's insanely generous, but I don't blame you for wanting to stop. It's messed up of her to expect you to spend $7,000 a year so she can try to have a baby. Let them be mad at you. This is literally not your responsibility. Having been through a few rounds of IVF myself, they say if you're not pregnant after 3 rounds, it's very unlikely to work for you. So it's easy for her to keep on wasting money that's not hers. Sad, but she needs to look at other options now. Honestly, at this point, I wonder if she would even pass the mental health screening process on adopting. Her obsession with having a child to the point that she's melting down because her sister doesn't want to pay for it is very concerning. Unfortunately, it also seems that everyone in the family has been enabling this behavior. Also, if the husband only makes enough to support the 2 of them and she isn't working, there would be financial difficulties in adopting, even if she passed the screening process. OP's best bet is to go low or no contact until sanity prevails in this family. OP, no one is responsible for someone else's lack of anything. Add up the total amount you've donated to her IVF and issues, and that's the total you've already helped above and beyond what you had. Family doesn't change a thing. Individuals are responsible for themselves, no more, no less. Make yourself the priority. It's very overdue.